pressure cigarette here, and then we'll do our brief for top of descent into Perth. And at the moment, our optimum is 40,006, so we're could have stepped to 4.1. I don't remember the service ceiling on the 330. I think it can go up to 410 though. So could have stepped to 4.1, maybe should have stepped to 4.1, but didn't. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for my next leg, because I should be landing at about 10:30 local time for me. About 1:30 in the afternoon Perth time on the 1st of April. April Fool's Day. So it's too early to fly to Europe for my next leg. I could make it to Melbourne or Sydney. For my next leg. But then I'm stuck in the on the east coast of Australia, so that doesn't really work for me. May go back to Singapore, quite honestly. Or I could go up beyond that to one of my other Northeast Asia airports. Beijing, Hong Kong, Manila, Taipei, though I just did Taipei. Somewhere up in there, maybe. And then go to Europe from there. Almost completing another round the world trek. I'd say I'm midway through around the world trek. Well, maybe not quite. I'm probably 2/3 of the way through world trek number 3. Around the world trek number 3. The joys of quarantine. But I'm doing well as far as that goes. It's been 1 day since I left, since I went to the store, and before that it was 6 days in between trips to the store. So, doing pretty good with that. As far as that goes. And I think we should be landing on long runway at Perth. From what I recall, Perth has kind of a interesting setup. You got one terminal on the east side of the airport, one terminal on the west side of the airport. I don't know which terminal is international and which terminal is domestic. I assume one is international, one is domestic, but I don't know which one is which. So it'll be my best guess for parking. And the replay on this airplane is a little funky. I'll talk more about that at the point in which we do the replay. At which we do the replay. And I forget who does the scenery for Perth off the top of my head. But it's pretty good scenery. Not top tier, but it's pretty good. As Larry David would say, pretty good. Been a good flight. I released a FSRideAlong podcast, so please check that out when you get a chance. FSRideAlong.com, or your favorite podcatcher should have it. iTunes, or not iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn. I'm sure there's others, but those are the main ones. And perhaps, I will stream it. I will play it on stream at some point. Perhaps. Alright, so top of descent now. 57 miles away, so I gotta get moving here. So we'll do the airport info and parking stands and terminal 1 and 2. Terminal 1 and terminal 2. I'll plan on parking at terminal 1 simply because, well, it depends on where I exit, I suppose, but do this and Julian 5 Alpha arrival. 250 knots below 10 standard. Transition level, flight level 11. And setting millibars for the altimeter. So I'm not seeing any altitude restrictions except 230 knots at Wungo. But let's read the description here. From Julian, track 210 to Yuri, track 210 to Wura, turn left track 192 to Herney, turn left track 158 to Gungan, turn right track 161 to Puttis, turn right track 195 to Messam, turn right track 271 to Wungo at 230 knots from Wungo, turn right track 286 to Harmon, turn right track 016 to Timmy for ILS runway RNAV, ILS or RNAV, Zulu, GNSS, or localizer runway 03 approach, max 185 from Temi. So we want Temi at 185 and Wungo at 230. So as best we can, we'll check the altitude or the restrictions here. Wungo at 230, we got that. And Timmy at 185, we got that. Alright, so continuing on from there, onto the ILS. Per runway 03, ILS Zulu or localizer Zulu runway 03. Timmy at 3. We'll just remember that because it doesn't have that. And I don't want to screw it up, so I'm not going to enter the altitudes. Punted at 25. And those are just checkpoints. Excuse me, punted at just above 16. So we'll set 3 for the altitude. Minimum's 203 on the Cat 1. So 3 on the FCU. And pre-flight decision altitude 203 on the radio altimeter. And let me just check that. Yeah, that's right. Localizer frequency, excuse me, the airplane's going to call me approaching minimums and minimums. I'll call landing or go around. In the event of a go around, we track 016 at 1500 left, turn left, track 0300. Climb to 3000 or is directed by ATC. ATC not a factor in this, as we are offline. And ATC isn't on anyway. Sector safe 3000. High grounds looks like it's to the southeast. And localizer frequency 110.1. Approach course 016. 110.1. Approach course 016. And perf page. QNH 1012 and temperature is a rather warm 28 degrees Celsius, and the wind is 270 at 8. Hopefully that doesn't mean that we have to switch runways. 270 at 08, because it's a pretty significant wind. 7008. Just check the chart real quick. Runway 21. So we are switching runways, apparently. Damn. So, we'll go back here. I'll start my descent, and then we'll see about switching runways here. I assume 3 would probably be the same from the other end. If that makes sense. And we can see the coast just on the right hand side there. One mile to go till our descent. Destination fuel estimating 7.9 kilos. And there's descent, so we'll go on manage descent here. That was weird. Thrust descent, descent, alt is blue, and nav. So we'll throw on the seatbelt sign here. Wow, the engine noise really decreased. And we are on glide path for now. So switching runways here. We want the ILS for 2-1. Now let's do the star first. Julian. Okay, so still the Julian 5 Alpha, it's just 2124, so that makes that part easier. Julian, we need to enter this right now. Flight plan. Arrival. iOS Yankee or Zulu. So hey is our last waypoint. Q1. Zulu will work. Let's 2-1 Zulu. And still Julie 5A. So we'll insert that. And it's updated the flight plan, and we're low apparently. Alright, so rebriefing here. Leave the airplane to do what it's going to do for the moment. So Julium 5 Alpha for runway 21. Julium, ypph at 230 knots. Okay, so we're not at Julium yet. That's good. ypph doesn't have the speed restriction there, but we're not flying online, so I'm not too concerned about that. Wara, and then hey 185. Herny apparently. Gungan, Lotus. Something screwed up here. Aha. So let's see if I remember how to do this on the Airbus. Clear you. Yeah, I remembered how to do it. Clear you. Clear you. Yeah, now we're high. Clear you. Throw out the spoilers. I control spoilers still out. Yeah, we need them at the moment. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. More that sounds familiar. Where are you? Be okay. So we can now do that and insert that. And so far as I can tell, it looks good on the nav display. It's not telling me how high we are, but I know we're high, so I'm keeping the spoilers out for now. So continuing on with my brief here, 185 at high, and ILS Zulu, runway 21, which has a DME arc approach, but we'll be going straight in from high. High at 2500, and then on down. So we'll do that and push, and we now have 2500 set in blue, so we're good to go there with 78 miles to go. On the approach chart, MSA 3000 within MSA Perth BOR 2700 within 3 nautical miles. The high ground is at 3000 to the northeast of the airport. And we're still going down. We're going down to a minimum of 207. On the radial altimeter. Airplane's going to call me approaching minimums and minimums. I'm going to call landing or go around in the event of a go around. We track 196 at 2000 and not before 0.6 IGD. Turn left, track 170, climb to 3000 or is directed by ATC. Transition 10, it seems to be standard in Australia. Airport elevation 67 feet, that's nice to know. Runway 43 feet. Localizer frequency 109.5, approach course 196. 109.5, approach course 196. And the airport info. Runway is 11,299 feet long, no displaced threshold, so plenty long. I'd like to get off by Charlie 9, if possible. If not, Charlie 11, Charlie, and then we'll take, T lane, Tango lane, to gate, 152, how about, and park up there. Alright, so now we're on glide again, so spoilers can go down. Or go up, yeah, down in this case. Alright, so we're in good shape with the spoilers. We're continuing to descend. Descending now through 15,400 feet. And, let's see, the 32 miles to go now, so we're gonna need to slow down here pretty quick. The weather still 270 at 8. Cabo K, 28 degrees Celsius, that's what I have in there, and 10-12 with no significant changes expected. So that gives me BLS of 132, approach 137, and we're going flaps full. Make sure that's selected, there it is. And a reminder myself, flap setting on the A330 is different than the A320. We have 4 notches of flaps to go till flaps full on the A330. There's 5, I believe, on the A320. So that's an important difference to remember as we continue our descent here. Auto brakes medium because I can't set, I can't figure out how to set max. I'm gonna have to look that up at some point, because I am going to have to land on a shorter runway at some point with the A330 and the A320. Not that max gets used that often or should get used that often, but yeah. Alright, so now it's looking like 51 miles to go. And it's saying 24 there. I'm confused. So I don't know whether it's time to slow down now or not. I think I'm going to trust what's in the CDU on the flight plan page versus the perf page. So we still have, there's thrust idle, And I'm going to throw out spoilers to help us slow down here as we approach 10,000 feet. Thrust idle, descent, alt in blue, nav, and we are still on glide path and slowing down nicely. Track speed brakes are coming down. And we are low again, but I'd rather be low than high. And I'll make the briefing to the passengers in a moment. Folks, this is Captain speaking. We are currently 42 miles away from Perth and descending through 10,000 feet, so now would be the time to clean up the area around your seat. Help the cabin crew prepare for our arrival, make sure all your immigration paperwork is complete, and stow all portable electronic devices. We should be arriving here in approximately 10 minutes time. Local time in Perth, 1:21 in the afternoon right now, same time as in Singapore. So we haven't changed time zones at all, even with all the westerly flying we've been doing. Excuse me, southeasterly flying we've been doing. So we thank you so much for choosing to fly with us here at Singapore Air. And we'll talk to you on the ground there in Perth here in just a couple minutes. Thank you. Alright, so I think we're still in good shape here. Airplane's set at 250 knots. 36 miles to go, so I'll let it do that for now. And I will take it off display capture while I'm thinking about that. Thrust descent, thrust idle, descent nav. And we now have 33 to go. So I'm going to start slowing down since we're closer to 250 knots right now. And I'm going to slow down to 180 knots, which may require some spoilers. We'll see. Alright, 180 knots is set on the FCU and the PFD. And we are slowing down fairly nicely. I am going to bring the spoilers up again though, just because we are slightly high on the glide path. And to me, common sense dictates that when your flaps are down, your spoilers should be down, and we're just about to hit the green dot, so I'm gonna stow the spoilers, wait for them to go down again. And flaps 1.
Altimeter setting.
Bitch and Betty's at it again. Extend speed brakes. Well, I can't. Not while the flaps are down. Or at least I don't think I should. But I may have to, so out they come. Catch up with the profile here. 25 miles to go. We're nice and slowed up and should be on the profile here in just a moment. Oh, quit bitching about the spoilers. Alright, spoilers going down again. Adjusting the camera slightly. And we're on speed and a tidbit high, but should be good to go. And I'm going to hit the ILS button. And I'm going to remember here to activate the approach. Berm activate approach. And the speed's still at 180, so that didn't change anything as far as our speed went. Just does Airbus logic things. I don't know what exactly it does. I'm still learning about the bus, quite honestly. Although I fly the FSLabs 320, I'm still very much in the learning phase on the bus. And of course, the Aerosoft A330 isn't quite as high fidelity as the FSLabs. Unfortunately, FSLabs doesn't make a 330 though, so. And we're still high. And the airplane cannot decide what thrust setting it wants. Or for that matter, what rate of descent is appropriate. Zoom in on the ND once again. And we're a bit low on the glide slope indicator, so that's good. We'll intercept it from below from the looks of things. And flight plan 16 miles. So in about 5 miles, I'll prepare to go flaps full and drop my gear. And we'll also arm the approach at this point. And we should be intercepting nicely here soon enough. The Loc in blue and Alt glide slope in blue. Speed, descent, nav. And 12 miles to go. We're right about on profile, both in terms of the glide slope and the descent profile is calculated by the MCDU. And I'm going to lower us down to 137 on the speed. Relatively low VREF on this airplane, or VLS as Airbus terms it. Alright, and we're on the glide slope. Haven't captured it yet, but we're on it. And we should be capturing the localizer momentarily. We are not slowing down, however. Loc star, Alt star, and I'm going to lower my gear. Should be slow enough.
2,500.
2,500. Glide slope star, glide slope capture. Just the flaps to come. And visual on the airport. Flaps 2. Looks like downtown Perth to our right. even with the gear down, airplane's having problems with the speed. And I can't deploy more flaps just yet. We are, however, on localizer and glide slope. We just need to be on speed. I've had speed issues. This will be my third approach with speed issues. Not exactly stoked about that. And I'll take the autopilot off at 1,000 feet AGL, which we are coming up on now. Auto marker. And just about at the speed we need. Come on, airplane, just slow a little bit more, just a tidbit. Alright, flaps 3. Realizing that we're just a couple knots fast for that, but we're gonna have to do it at this point. Flaps full. Still on localizer, on glide slope, visual on the runway. I'm clearing myself to land. There's 1,000. Autopilot's coming off. Leave the auto throttle in until he calls retard. And I'm doing the same thing I've been trying to do with my approaches here from the point of stabilization. And that is to not mess with the controls until I absolutely have to. Slight pitch up.
500.
On localizer, a little bit low. Land.
100 above. 300. Minimum 200.
Landing.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 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 Five.
Reverse green. Not being too aggressive with the brakes. Yet. I don't think that was too bad. Maybe a little bit of a bounce there because he called 5 as I thought I was on the ground. Bob's coming up. And so welcome to Perth. I think that landing could have been worse. It was definitely lacking control in the lateral sense, but the only thing I'm worried about really is pitch. I think I was a little high on the pitch, but we'll see. And we'll take that off, and the APU should be available here pretty soon. Not too bad of a flight, about 5 hours I think, airtime. We'll never know because I forgot to start the clock, but alright, there's my link, I think. Hey, that rhymes. As you can see, airport's not too bad. It's kind of noticing some flashing here as we go along. But I've certainly seen worse sceneries, and I'm very glad to have of Perth. And of course, it goes without saying, it beats default. So I think probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to Asia. And 152 is right there. So that is one A330 crash landing and three or four A330 landings completed. So about 45 hours in the A330 at this point. So we'll turn the APU bleed on. APU is available. And we'll shut the engines down. Let's see what the printout has to say. Landing distance 4,651 feet. That's not bad. Flight time 4 hours 48 minutes. Not bad either. Fuel used 28.7 kilos. Touchdown rate 193 feet a minute. Landing speed 139. That's not bad. Doesn't tell me my pitch, but we'll get that in a moment. So we'll close that. And we'll look at Project Fly here. We'll do this so we can look at Project Fly. And there's my track. Relatively short flight down to Perth, especially relative to the 16 hours that I did the leg before that. Bookings 178. That's respectable. I'm pretty happy with that on the sync rate. And pitch of 4. Okay, I will take a pitch of 4. 1.2 on the G-force. 2 degrees on the roll. That's not ideal, but all in all, I'll take it. 4,000.